Man, I tell you, these ghosts are getting out of hand. Just wish there was somebody that could get rid of them, if I only had a sign. Here's your look at the Just Geek official Ghostbusters 3D desk lamp. What better way to show off your status as an elite Ghostbuster than with an illuminated lamp of their logo? Spruce up your room and make it look snazzy with this premium Ghostbusters lamp. This 3D molded lamp can be mounted on your wall or simply placed on any surface. This is an ideal collectible that every Ghostbusters fan should own. Want to shed some light on your paranormal problems? If you guys are interested and would like to get your hands on the Ghostbusters illuminated sign, I did actually get this one over at Just Geek. And perfect time as well with the new Ghostbusters film in theaters right now, that the Ghostbusters sign was actually marked down by like 30%. It wasn't the price that I paid for it, but if you guys are interested right now, I think it's around $22. We'll kind of talk about the positives and the negatives of the sign. But again, if you guys are interested, you can click the link down below in the video description. In case you guys are also curious as to how big this is, it's somewhat of a perfect square other than the things that are hanging off the sides. I'm going to grab the tape measure, and it is in fact 7.5 inches in height, or it's about 19 centimeters tall. And I would imagine that wouldn't be changing anytime soon. Yeah, it's about 7.5 inches wide and about the same in centimeters too. The Ghostbusters sign can either be powered by 3 AA batteries, or as well you can use yourself a micro USB cable. Unfortunately though, the batteries and the cable are not provided with the sign, so it's pretty bare bones when you get it out of the packaging. There's nothing additionally I can show you. There's not even instructions either, but it's pretty straightforward. The sign can also be either displayed on your desk if you want to have it displayed that way, or you can also hang it from your wall. If you look at the back of the sign, in fact, there's actually 2 hanging hooks here. And these are essentially just hang on to nails or really thumbtacks too. I would imagine this isn't super heavy, that it should be able to be sustainable to hold this by also thumbtacks. Down below here as well is the battery compartment. I haven't yet installed the batteries, but of course you'll need 3 1.5 volt or 3 AA batteries to plug those onto the back. Probably if you're going to be hanging this on the wall and you really don't want a dangling cable down below, USB or the 3 AA batteries probably are your best bet. You're just going to have to go from time to time back and periodically change them. There's also, there's these, I guess, little supports on the back. I'm not even sure really what they're there for. I mean, maybe it's just to kind of give a little bit of relief. So obviously if this is going to be sticking a little bit further out from the wall, it just allows then those hooks to hang then properly on nails or thumbtacks. Funny though, it's disappointing that they have them on the back, but they didn't decide to have them on the side. You're probably thinking the same thing I was thinking. Maybe not on the side that actually has the switch. This is the part that's going to turn on and off the lamp. But at the very least, if they had have it hanging on the side, this probably would have been the better side, because you could have then you probably see where I'm going with this. You probably could have hung this sticking out from your wall as you would see on the actual firehouse, where the sign would be actually sticking out like this way, as opposed to hanging on the wall this way. Does that make sense? I would rather obviously the only unfortunate thing is on the back, it's just basic black plastic. So you're really only getting the one effect of the Ghostbusters no-ghost sign by only looking at really on one side. But yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer that unfortunately they didn't have hanging hooks on the side. And obviously you'd probably only be able to then see the inside cavity. But still, this should have been something that you could have hung from the wall this way. Like I said, on the bottom here, it does also have a port here that you can take yourself a micro USB, and that just plugs onto the bottom. We're not yet into the USB-C days when it comes to actually when it comes to plugging these ones in. So they're still using micro USBs, which is fine. But like I said, I do have myself a cable. I'm going to plug that in a second. The only other thing to mention is obviously there's a little switch there on the side that's going to turn that off and on. I will say though, like the button seems, it's one of those things that you depress it and it will always stay on, and then to press it again will be the thing that turns it off. But it feels like the button is kind of a little on the more flimsier side. It kind of has a little bit of a wiggle to it. I'm going to turn that off for right now. Obviously, there's nothing plugged into this just yet. I'm going to plug it in, and in a second also as well, I'm going to turn off the lights, because I will say, like, when you have everything else around you on, you really can't quite make out the light. The bulb that they've put inside is pretty weak, and I would imagine it's probably quite small as well. But you got the no-ghost symbol there on the front. It looks good. There is one area here, and I would have to go back. I didn't realize that this part of the finger actually gets cut in like this, but I guess it's supposed to be like that. It just looks a little strange that this section of the no-ghost symbol actually is cut into the finger like that. They have unfortunately also left off one section of paint, while very successfully painting everything else very cleanly, they left off one section right here, and it's the thing I keep looking back on, because it is pretty much perfect other than that one section right there is the only area that didn't get this treatment of red paint. The paint actually itself, or I would imagine this probably all be molded in like red plastic, it does actually look a little bit more orangish than it does red. The actual ghost on the front is nicely done here. It's got the little Pac-Man eyes, a little nose. This is all, by the way, raised too. It's not a completely flat surface. I like that they actually gave some contouring to this, so it has a three-dimensional look, as opposed to just having the ghost be completely flat like this. It's pretty light, though. There's not really any weight at all to this. And you can really kind of feel like, I don't want to say like there's a cheapness to it, but there's definitely like more of a hollowness to it. Now I'm going to just reach off to the side here. I just happen to have myself a micro USB cable. I've got it already plugged in, don't worry. And we're just going to plug it onto the bottom. The thing about micro USBs, and even like the USB cables before that, is when you're plugging them in, it always feels like you're going to be bending the prong inside. But this just basically fits in, if I can get this facing the right way. There we go. And then this will be, of course, the thing that's hanging out. Now, if you have this, say, on your desk, I don't think it's going to be so much of a problem. I guess it even isn't a problem if you're going to be hanging this from the wall. You're just going to have like an excess cable hanging down. Unfortunately, with having cats, though, my cats would be probably the type to be swatting back and forth trying to knock this out. So maybe it would be a good idea if you're looking to get this and have this hanging on the wall and you have pets, it probably would be a better idea, I would imagine, by powering this with the AA batteries rather than actually using the cable. Now, I will say, don't get overhyped with the idea that this is going to be very, very bright. Don't get your hopes up, because you're unfortunately going to be a little bit on the more disappointed side. Now, to press the button on the side, here's what it looks like when it's not illuminated. Here's what it looks like when it is illuminated. Can you even see the difference? I guess you could. It looks honestly a little bit better in the camera than it does in person. It looks like it's barely illuminated. And again, it's only really going to be illuminated from the front. You're obviously not going to be seeing anything on the back, but you can see, if you look kind of inside here, you can see the sections in which the light is kind of peering out the back. I mean, again, it looks a little bit more impressive, I would imagine, if you're going to be cutting the lights, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing. So here's what it looks like with, of course, the studio lights all on. And here's what it looks like with the lights all off. Now, it doesn't really do the greatest of jobs of illuminating everything. You can kind of see it's a little weaker in some of the sides where it's really bright on the one side for the hand and not as overly bright on the other side. Some of the creases, for example, on the ghosts illuminate a little bit brighter. I mean, it does, again, get the job done, but it doesn't do like the greatest of job of illuminating everything from side to side. There are a little bit more of the weaker areas. And I don't know if maybe some of it has to do with the fact that there's just some more additional molding here where it just doesn't get as much of the chance for the light to kind of shine through it. But it isn't the greatest of lights. I mean, like I said, it illuminates okay, but you can definitely see there's some areas that really do suffer. I can't help but also point out to you guys the little top curl of his hair here. What would be, I guess, would be the curl of the hair for the ghost. But the little curl anyways that he has on the top. If you look at the top of it, it seems to be really dark in color, almost as if it's been burned. I don't think it's the case. It's probably just the way it's been molded. But I couldn't help but again notice that it's really dark right here, and it's not dark anywhere else. I mean, again, like if to have this in your office, let's fix the cable here as well, to have this in your office and having the lights off, at least it does illuminate, although it doesn't illuminate all that well. While not really being the greatest of lamps, at least if you wanted to have yourself a Ghostbusters no ghost sign sitting on your desk, or hey, why not even hanging on your wall, this one at least does get the job done. I'm sure if you looked hard enough, you probably could find better examples maybe online, maybe even on Etsy. There probably has been somebody that's made very neat looking Ghostbusters signs that you can have hanging from your wall. The thing about this, though, is I don't plan to have this hanging from the wall. Even though there are hanging hooks on the back of it, my plan really was just to always pick this up, have it on display on my desk along with the rest of my Ghostbuster collectibles. And for that, it does exactly what it needs to do. Its illumination is pretty weak, though. And you can see, like, when we had the lights cut out, I mean, some of the sections on the Ghost illuminate a little bit better than others. And still, again, like, it's weird that top section, the little curly that he has on the top of his head, had be like a more darker color, almost as if something got burned on it. But yet, when you have the lights off, it doesn't look like anything's been damaged to the sign. It's just weird to have that section be the only section on the Ghost that is a darker color. Still, though, there's missed opportunities here, obviously. I can't just look at this with rose-colored glasses and tell you guys it's a perfect-looking lamp. It really isn't. It isn't illuminated very well. I mean, obviously, the fact that they didn't even include batteries or even, at the very least, a micro USB cable, those would all be fairly inexpensive things that they could at least throw those in, considering the simplicity of what this lamp actually is. Not maybe good as a lamp, but just good as a decorative piece to be putting on display. Again, if you guys are interested to get this one for yourself, it's currently on sale over at Just Geek. They marked this thing down by 30%. Maybe again, for Ghostbusters the movie now in theaters, they maybe wanted to mark a lot of their Ghostbusters merchandise down, but I'll provide the link. I'll provide the link down below in the video description. As of right now, it's $21.86. And I guess, for what it is, it's not bad. Yes, I would have liked to have hanging hooks on the side so it could have actually stuck out from the wall rather than on the wall. And yes, including the additional things like the cable and the batteries seemed like a no-brainer. But again, if you want a fairly inexpensive Ghostbusters sign, of course, just to present, just to showcase your love for Ghostbusters, it's not a bad sign after all. Is this something you guys could see yourselves picking up? Let me know down below in the comments section. And if you guys did enjoy this video, why not throw it a like? If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing and would like to stick around for more, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell notification. If you also have seen Frozen Empire, let me know down below in the comments section if you enjoyed it, without giving, of course, any spoilers away. Let's not spill the beans for everybody else. But if you have at least seen the movie, just let me know. Was it a good movie? Was it better than Afterlife, or would you say it was worse than Afterlife? At least say that. Definitely going to be a lot more videos coming your way, guys. If in the meantime you want to check out other things I've covered for Ghostbusters, popping up at the very end of this video will be a playlist that covers off the terrain of everything Ghostbusters related. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.